The Behind Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, kingdomstrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from kingdomstrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact kingdomstrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's kingdomstrollers.com.
A new coffee for Expedition Roasters, Curaçao and Curaçao. This tag says drink me for a Wonderland coffee crumb cake experience. Oh my, I feel so exhilarated. And look at all of these other handcrafted themed coffees and teas they have. It's like falling down a rabbit hole into the most wonderful coffee and tea party. Now you better hurry, you don't want to be late. So head over to expeditionroasters.com to brew a little magic at your home. Behind the Ears podcast listeners, be sure to use code EARS20 for 20% off your next purchase with us. Brew your happy place.
Coming to you live from our studios on the East Coast and in the Midwest, it's the Behind the Ears podcast, because everybody does Disney differently.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Ears podcast. And boy, do we have a treat for you. Not only are we doing one movie review, we're going to do two movie reviews. And guess what? Chris and myself both saw both movies. Shocker on my part. Once again, we are Behind the Ears podcast. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us on any of our social media places: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, the whole 9 yards, as well as you can watch our shows live on Facebook. I said that already. Yeah, let's just skip it. I'm Uncle Danny. This is Mr. Chris in the pink. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. And the thing of it is, though, Danny, we may have to pause here for one quick second.
Okay.
Okay, so give me 1 second. Because I don't think this is right. All right. Go ahead and say something, Danny.
Hello.
Okay. Now people should be able to hear you.
Oh, they couldn't hear me?
I don't think so. So why don't you go ahead and do that little intro? Um, go ahead and do that intro one more time.
I just want to see. I'm still getting back from you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that right now. I don't know what's going on.
All right, we're going to do this then. I can't listen.
Okay, give me 1 second because something is obviously flaked. Give me one more second.
Okay.
If I do that, is it better?
Oh yeah. Whatever that is, I don't hear myself anymore.
Okay, then that's what we do. Go ahead and start your intro again, and let's try this one more time.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Behind the Ears podcast. We have a delightful night for you. Delightful. I like that. I'm going to use that one today. Very delightful. Not only are we doing one movie review, we are going to be doing two movie reviews, and out of pure luck, we both saw both these movies. Chris usually always sees all the movies, and I usually sit back in my chair and be like, yeah, it sounds like a good movie. I didn't see it. Once again, if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're an old-time listener, thanks for tuning in. You can catch our live shows every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us. Both those shows would actually be on Facebook and or YouTube. You can catch us on all our social media platforms. Everybody, I did it all. Everybody heard it already, so I'm just repeating myself. With that being said, I'm Uncle Danny, the man in the pink. And is that pickle juice?
No, this is not pickle. This is green tea.
Oh, it looks like pickle juice from back there.
I could see where you would think it would look like pickle juice, but no, it's not pickle juice. And that's only you.
Lindsay threw out the empty container. She goes, you left the empty container of pickles in the refrigerator. You can't throw it out. And I was like, tell me you threw it out. She goes, of course I did. It was empty. I was like, there was pickle juice in there. It's the best part. It's like the bot. It's like reaching into the bag and then finding those couple French fries that snuck into the bag. Those are the good days. Yeah. Mr. Chris, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. And like you said, we actually saw both of these movies within the last few weeks. And he's right. I'm usually the movie guy. And it's one of those cases where I'm really glad to actually do something like this. This is actually a little bit unprecedented for both of us. I mean, we have seen movies at this, within a couple of weeks of each other, but not two at a time. And this is bound to be a very interesting conversation because these two movies are, I guess you could, Danny, is it wrong for me to say monumental, in the sense of just some of the aspects, maybe not the movies themselves, but just these movies.
They're heavy hitters. Okay, I mean, Toy Story is, probably one of the biggest, actually created by Disney. You could say Star Wars, but that really was never them. They just bought them. This was created and run by Disney via Pixar. And Lion King is an instant classic.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna say let's go ahead and let's talk about Toy Story 4 first, because you just saw it. I just saw The Lion King as well, but I would love to hear your thoughts about Toy Story 4 first, to be honest with you. Not to put you on the spot, but that's just a thought process.
Honest opinion time, they should have stopped at 2. I know people were. I didn't. 3 was okay, but there was no need for it. There was really honestly no need for 2, but it should have been Toy Story 4. It should have been like, hey, this is Toy Story 4, but don't come see this movie if you want to see anybody outside of Forky, Woody, and Bo Peep. What did Buzz have? 4 lines the entire. I think and no homage to Mr. Potato Head. Like at the end of the movie, they had the running credit, but like he had no lines.
Okay, so my thought process on it when I watched it, and I'm not trying to say this in a hateful or negative manner, but I kind of thought that they made Buzz look stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the whole listen to your inner voice bit. I understand it. It's actually
funny.
It was actually quite funny. I actually like that idea. But the interesting part to it is that it was almost like, compared to the first Toy Story, the original, it was one of those cases where they made Buzz seemed like he couldn't make a decision on his own, which really just seemed odd. I mean, I understand that there's a little bit of a concept of, not being Bonnie's favorite and this, that, and the other, a definite shift from Andy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shifts with that, if you think about it. And I felt kind of bad for Buzz, but the whole concept is that granted, I know he felt bad, but the fact is I don't know. I actually kind of felt that he was a little bit, he wasn't given the chance to be Buzz.
And it's not only him, I'm not going to be biased. I'm only speaking about him. Rex had no lines. I mean, it just seemed really focused on Woody and Bo Peep, and that's fine. It's just, but no other Toy Story was like that. Everybody played a significant role, some bigger than others, in the last three. And I get introducing the new character in Forky. But I mean, it literally, like I said, it was like having just the three of them in the movie, and everybody else was just like background. Like they were almost extras in this movie. I mean, even Bonnie didn't play a significant role, really. When you really come to think about it, I mean, look at Bonnie's lines. I mean, look at her time appearance. I mean, Andy was always in the movies.
It was one of those cases where, yeah, you're right. Andy always was in the movies. At the end of Toy Story 3, Bonnie always seemed to be very, very shy. And the interesting part is, and I'm going to get really, I'll say philosophical in a way here, but they really upped the shyness in Bonnie, which, she was fine when she was home with her toys. She did the hi toys, bye toys bit, I mean, that was all cute and stuff like that. But really put a heavy hitter on, Bonnie being shy in class, but she wasn't shy a lot of other places, and this, that, and the other. I just thought they could have developed her character a little bit more. I realized that this is okay. Do you remember right before we both saw this? There was a kind of a question of, do you think they're going to continue with the Toy Story series?
Yeah.
I just don't. Now I'm at a point where I don't know how they could. I mean, some people might say, yeah, you might be able to, and have like a spin-off or something like that. I just don't think you can do it. I don't think they did enough character development in Bonnie. I don't think they did. They didn't set it up for a next one, so to speak. And it just made me sad, to be honest with you, that this particular, they just created Toy Story Land and everything else, and they're going to stop here. I mean, it was like, that was how me as a fan, how I felt at the end of the movie.
Look, this is how I looked at this movie. Almost like it was, all right, there's nothing wrong with microwave leftovers. In fact, I ate some when I got home. But in a summer where the studios have released almost nothing but underwhelming and underperforming sequels, sandwiched between Disney's mega budget remakes of Aladdin, Lion King, it just seemed profoundly unnecessary, the Toy Story 4. It leaves one starving for, I'm going to get philosophical here, it leaves one starving for something more than just leftovers, if that makes any sense to you guys. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it wasn't Toy Story. There were some good things that came from it. I think the visual aspect was wonderful.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. If you compare it to to the first or even second one, the animation to this movie was just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if you think what Andy looked like in the very first one, and what he or Bonnie or any of the humans, I should say, actually look like now, oh my gosh, the difference that they've made over the past 15 years, it is just phenomenal.
How good was
20
Keanu
years.
Reeves
20,
though?
20 years. I'm sorry, 20 years. Oh my gosh.
The Canadian Evil Knievel, the knockoff toy that doesn't work nearly as good.
Yes, we Canada. Dude, I gotta tell you that when that came up, first off, I didn't quite realize that was Keanu Reeves
Okay.
at first. I mean, I laughed when I first saw it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh! Now it was like almost a blend between like Neo and when he was like Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's like, yes, we Canada. It's like, is he just posing for us now? Yes.
Yes.
Dude, that was actually hilarious. And the funniest part is that I really wanted to buy the Duke Kaboom action toy
Yeah.
at Target because I wanted to see if it was like,
It better just fall over.
yeah.
I mean, even was it Keenan and Peele? I mean, they had some good lines. I just nothing great, to infinity and my foot.
Okay. But you have to admit, the whole plush rush thing was actually
That was hilarious.
you have to admit the character development between those two was just really awesome. And I laughed at them. I mean, there was a lot of really good parts to this movie.
Trash.
And,
We are trash.
yeah, exactly. Here's the thing though. I'm going to say something here, or I'm going to ask this question, and I know it's not going to be a very popular question, but did Forky creep you out?
All right, so Lindsay got really scared and she had to close her eyes a bunch of times from the dolls in the toy store.
Oh, okay. Okay, like the was it Gabby and
Gabby was fine, but the men dolls.
Yeah, I know who you're talking. For
I
some reason,
forgot the name that they used, but no, Forky. I think it's stupid. I mean, I get the premise of it, and it's adorable because that's what little kids do, but I don't know. I just this is the way when I walked through the movie, I was thinking about this. Literally, what Forky is they're trying to bring in the younger demographic back into the Toy Story film.
But then you would think that if they're going to do that, that means
Forky's going to have its own spin.
I was going to say there's going to have to be some kind of a spin for a 5 or something else. A spinoff? No, I don't think Forky could do a spinoff.
I think you could do a cartoon series.
You could probably do something on Disney Plus. That would be a possibility. I think that would make sense if you tried to do something like that. But the only problem of it is that every time they try to do a cartoon spinoff of a good series like that, it only lasts like a couple seasons. And I just think that it's there's been a lot of spinoffs that they've done on into cartoons, and it doesn't last, and it's disappointing. And it's not because they're bad. It's just that I think people want to see the movies. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
They are doing a Forky series on Disney Plus, according to Bailey. Oh, John's saying a Forky Xmas special. I'm telling you, they're going to run with it.
Yeah, and
people went bananas for it.
And our friend Stan says, they're going to make Forky shorts. You're probably right, Stan. I would probably, bet that like, oh, I get it. Forky shorts, but I'm talking, literally like actual shorts is going to be a great Christmas gift this year.
At this point, I just wish they didn't make it. Like I'm so afraid that it's not, it doesn't stand up to even the other three. And that says a lot. I mean, I don't like to compare it to 1 because 1 was just that good. So comparing it to either 2 or 3, I'm just afraid it takes such a big hit by people that if that series ends on that note, that's not good.
Well, and for everybody who is asking questions about our opinion on Lion King, we will get to that. So hold your questions. Overall, though,
did you like it? Did you find it entertaining? Did you think it like if they ended here, do you think that would be okay? Fine. I know, like you said, they should have stopped at 2, but do you think that they wrap things up, or do you think that there are still a lot of open ends on it? And I know,
I think it's a 50-50 question. I think you could literally go either way. I think they did it perfectly where they can continue with the story, or they can say, okay, that's the end of it. What was the beginning part of the question?
Oh no, I think you answered it. I mean, it's just, whether or not you thought they should have ended it. It sounds like you think they should have, but I think you're right. They didn't quite close it up. They could.
Yeah. It's hard for me to say, like, because it's hindsight's 2020. Leading up to Toy Story 4, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, keep making it. And now I saw it, I'm like, oh man, you should have stopped. I can't sit here and tell you they shouldn't, because I don't want the series to end like that, but I'm almost afraid of what would come next.
It's interesting. Gordon makes a comment here that I think is important, and we may not necessarily see it in the same way, but I think he brings up a really good point. He says the next generation of kids loved it in the same way we loved it when we were that age, and he feels that it came full circle, which, if you think about it, that is a decent way of looking at it, because it is definitely different. You're looking at it through a kid's point of view, and one thing is, we remember what it was like to have Toy Story come out in 1995.
Yeah.
And to, really love those characters and watch those characters build over the past, number of years.
That's why I said Forky was really geared to bring that next wave of Toy Story fans in. Not that it needed it, but it's always good to have fresh blood in the series.
The thing is, though, I actually think it needed it. And let me explain why. Disney has put a lot of money into the IP. They put a lot of money into the property. They've put a lot of money into Toy Story Land. They put a lot of money, into the brand. And they're going to, it would be in their best interest.
Yeah.
To continue it on in such a way. So it would be bad for them to close it out like, say, what they did with the Avengers. They closed out that particular era of Avengers movies, which you haven't seen Endgame yet, have you? No. Okay. So
wait, is that Thanos?
Yeah.
But the second one?
Yeah.
No, in my mind, they're all still dead. Haven't seen the next one.
Okay. Good point. So the fact is that, I think they left it open, but I guess my imagination isn't good enough to see how they can actually continue it in that manner. And I'll admit, I'm not a very creative person when it comes to storytelling.
Oh, you could. I'll tell you right now, Toy Story 5, how it could be done. Woody stayed at the carnival. Carnival comes through town. Bonnie goes. Toys reunite. You could do an entire movie where it's split, showing what the toys who stay with Bonnie, what their life is like. You can keep flashing over to what, Bo Peep and Woody have been doing all these years. And then all of a sudden, boom, they all can meet and they all become toys of their own. Lost toys. That's your Toy Story 5 right there. Boom. You're welcome, Disney. No script, but I'd literally just outline that entire movie. Very simple outline.
Gordon also makes another good comment. Woody leaving kind of gave us some closure while all starting a new adventure with the next generation. Here you go. Here's the title. Michelle provided it for you. Toy Story Reunion Road Trip. It's interesting. I mean, you have a very good point there.
I mean, or it is, because you can't have Toy Story without Woody in it. You can't do it. So you couldn't have a 5 and just say Bo Peep and Woody are doing their own thing. I don't think Buzz, Rex, because you really don't have Mr. Potato Head anymore. I mean, he didn't really have any lines because he passed, John Rickles passed before they did any recording. You could CGI it and you can, put the computer to make his voice, but really what you would be left with Rex, Buzz, and Forky. is that enough? And Forky's little girlfriend now, is that enough to really come up with a 5? Maybe you're introducing new characters. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, again, my creativeness when it comes to storytelling does not do. Yeah, I would not be a storyteller for Disney. I will admit it right now. I just don't have it. But overall, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. In the series, I still say the first one is.
Yeah, I try. It's so hard to judge everything. I hate doing that. I
I
always try to take the first one out. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, or we could do a Rotten Tomatoes style of 0 to 100%. We'll do that 0 to 100%. What are you giving it?
I'm actually going to give it a real solid 85 Rotten Tomato score.
Ooh.
I mean, to me, an 85 is, in my opinion, is actually pretty solid. It was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I think the soundtrack was just wonderful in it. I thought the storytelling was really good. The animation was fabulous. I will say that I enjoyed it. It will be a part of my collection. I do think that people should see it, especially if they are Toy Story fans, and make their own judgment to it. But I give a good 85 on 100 Rotten Tomato score.
Before I give it, Steven brings up a good point. He goes, do you think Toy Story 4 wasn't as great as the others because John Lasseter wasn't involved with the project? I would like to believe that one man can't ruin a movie or make a movie. I think there's a little something to that statement, though.
But the thing is, John Lasseter was involved with it. He wasn't involved to the very end, but he was involved with it, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm saying. What was he, because we don't know how these movies were made, like the sequence of what it was made.
Very true, because a lot of these movies are not made from start to finish. They're made in segments, and there's also, hundreds of people that are, doing the animation in chunks. So, but hey, the whole thing with Lasseter, I'm just going to stay away from, because I don't think he's, unless Lasseter is punching on the computers doing the animation himself, I'm going to say no.
I think it's more the script writing or the outlining of the movie. You know what I mean?
I think Pete Docter did a fabulous job directing it. I think, that's, to me, I think the director has more to
soundtrack
say.
wasn't half bad.
I like the soundtrack. The soundtrack was really good. So,
all right, 63.
Really?
It's above a 50, so there is a chance of a second watch in my part.
Okay, now, just kind of a curiosity, though, just so I have an understanding of your point of reference on this, what other movies do you consider to be a 65 to 75 range? Just so I have.
Ooh. To 7. To fall in that category, Toy Story 2 and 3 would fall into there.
Okay.
Into that. I mean, Toy Story 1 is a 95 in my book. I don't believe in giving anything 100 because there's always flaws in everything.
Sure.
Especially as time goes on, I can look back and be like, Toy Story 1 was great, it's 100, but the technology is crappy now. That's it falls in line with the rest of the series. I think it is the lowest rated one out of the 4. Cars 2 would probably be in that lower to mid echelon 60s.
Really, Cars 2? I would have scored Cars 2 lower if you want to know the truth.
Well, I was saying like in the 60s. So,
because Cars 2 is like, to me, it's just been 1 and 3.
Yeah. What do I put? And I would put 3 in the higher echelon of my bracket in the mid 70s.
Okay.
Mary Poppins is below 60.
Which Mary Poppins?
The remake.
Okay. In other words, the sequel, not the remake, remember?
The remake. Stupid movie. All right, so here's an example of non-sequel movies that I would put up higher. We'll go above an 80. Mr. Banks, Saving Mr. Banks.
Okay.
Solid movie.
Yeah, I would say a good solid 85 area for me,
too. Definitely not in the 90s. Definitely had its flaws, but in the mid 80s, I'm very content with it. Outside of that, but once again, I don't like remakes. But we have now hit our allotted time for Toy Story 4. Yes. So let's lay it to rest. It is over. And let's wait till, like Stan says, Toy Story 9, the last buzz.
I love
so
that.
Let's move on over. And since I went first with Toy Story, since it's my love, you saw Lion King this past weekend. I already had seen it. So I would like to hear You know, how you feel about
Sure.
Lion King.
It was a little bit of a spur of the moment decision to go see it. And to be very honest, I'm really glad I did. And I will say that I consider myself a good fan of the movie The Lion King. I really enjoyed the storyline. I mean, of course, the music is just iconic, you know, between Elton John and Tim Rice. Seriously, you can't get a better soundtrack. So,
But Elton John wasn't in this one, right?
no, but the soundtrack, I'll start with there. The soundtrack, I thought, to this movie, the score was phenomenal. I loved the score. Now, I'll also say that the songs on top of it, which I kind of rate separate from the score, were great. And I'm going to confess something right now, everybody. I'm not a Beyonce fan. I'm just not. I don't listen to her on a regular basis. I don't listen to her. I don't say I could say I listen to her at all, to be honest with you. In fact, I would probably say that if I saw her name come across XM radio or something, I'm pressing a button to go to something else, something country maybe even. But yeah, I know it's that bad. So I know everybody's saying that Elton John was in the credits, which I think I was talking too much over it because my wife, son, and I were talking about the movie afterwards, so I may have missed it. But Beyonce did a great job. I think she did a really good job with the songs in the movie. And I will say that they actually brought back Lebo M, who did a lot of the soundtrack for the first, for the original. People don't realize that, especially for some of the songs that were in the credits. So that captivated me. The music was just great, and they did a good job of it. And thank goodness the theater didn't screw up the sound anyway.
Okay.
Now let's go ahead. Yeah, wait. Okay, let's go ahead and
Well, before you do that, real quick, take a guess. I'm sorry. What do you think Toy Story 4 was on Rotten Tomatoes?
I want to say it's actually probably in the 60s or 70s.
97.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Sorry. If it wasn't that astonishing, I wouldn't have switched topics. Please go back to what you were saying.
That is actually pretty impressive, to be honest with you. And I'm glad it got that kind of a score. Okay. So here's the thing. First off, in case people don't realize this, the remake of Lion King had 0 live action in it. 0. All 100% the CGI. Hard to believe. I'm going to tell you that right now. That was so freaking well done. It was really hard to believe. Outside, especially the scenery and everything was just so immaculately done. I just absolutely fabulous. I thought the animation was stunning. John and I, my son, he and I had a little bit of a disagreement over some of the animation, to be honest with you. He and I were debating that a little bit during the credits. And I really, now Chris says one scene was actual footage. Well, I'll be honest with you. If there was one actual footage scene, I couldn't pick it out of a crowd. I'll be honest with you. And I wasn't trying to pick it out. I wasn't trying to pick it apart either, to be honest with you. So thanks, Chris, for correcting me. I appreciate that. I absolutely thought it was great. And I thought it did the original movie justice. But I'm going to pause here for a minute because I'm going to say one other thing, and then I want to hear your 2 cents. But I do have a small commentary about these remakes that I'd really like to talk about a little bit. And I will say this. I thought the storyline was very, very well done. I also realized how much I forgot the story, to be honest with you. I mean, you go to, was it PhilharMagic, and you sing the songs and this, that, and the other during the Lion King portion and this, that, and the other, which I love. But you also don't remember a lot of the drama that went along with it. You know, the whole thing about like the encounters with the hyenas, the whole thing of Mufasa dying, and also bringing back James Earl Jones for the voice of Mufasa. You could not have done this movie without James Earl Jones. Simple as that. Period. Enough said. But yeah, it was really, really solid. I enjoyed it, but I want to hear your point. We can talk about it.
So it was beautiful. You know, got a little teary here and there for some of the scenes. It did bring you back to your childhood, rewatching that movie and singing along with all the songs. I'm a little shocked that The Circle of Life by Elton John was not in it. I do think that Nala, being Beyonce, it sounded like Beyonce was literally reading from a script. There was no soul to it. I literally walked out of that movie and said, did I just see The Lion King, or was that Nat Geo meets Disney?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh so loud, but
Like,
that's
you know, it was like Animal Planet on a big screen. I mean, I know Disney's into making those movies with the penguins, so you know, I figured maybe that's where we were going with life. It's just, I thought the animals were too hard looking. I think since they're not real, you know, you could have softened them up and made them cartoons. A little, not cartoons, but a little more cartoonish, have a little more softness to them. And I had said that to somebody, and they were like, "Yeah, but it's a live action, so they have to look real." I said, "Please, sir, find me a real lion that speaks English."
it speaks any language
Any language that you could understand,
other than the language of roar.
Yeah. I don't want to say I was disappointed with the movie. I don't want to say I was ecstatic with the movie. I will literally say the fact of I was very on this and also Toy Story. You know, they both got on a Danny rating. I'm gonna call it that's my rating on it. Listen, there was beautiful scenes. You know, seeing Mufasa die again, and I saw it in IMAX, so on that big of a screen, it was sad. And also here's my biggest gripe with it. I didn't like Scar's voice. I just, and my buddy had saw the same night, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh man, Scar was good." He goes, "He definitely had that villain." I was like, "Did you think so though?" Because I felt like it wasn't like raspy enough. It wasn't
not villainous enough.
Yes, like I felt like, especially because they made him look scary. You got to admit, he was a scary looking lion.
Oh, they did a really good job.
Real scraggly looking. Like he definitely was, you know,
The
definitely darker.
color
And
hair.
I just felt like it didn't translate. And I know a lot of people were saying, like, when Lindsay's sister we got out of the movie, they were kind of upset that Pumbaa didn't have the hula skirt on. And I get it, because we talked about it, and there is no way in a live action for certain things to translate over. And those happen to be one of them. But Pumbaa and them, it's just, they were funny. They were hilarious. They definitely brought a lot of longevity to the movie. But I feel like they didn't get a big enough role where they really could have stole the show with some of their comedy. And I do feel like the cartoon showed more comedy than the live action did. And yes, I am a hard critic, but you come to hear my opinion. My expectations are high. No. Disney can't have that. No, if you're Disney, you can't tell me my expectations are too high. You set the bar. You're the one that decided to try and remake the movie. My expectations are staying above that. You didn't come out. It's not like Lion King. I've never seen it. And this is the first time Lion King come out. And you were saying, "Danny, you're being too harsh." Okay, fine. But hold on a second. You decide to remake it, so I'm going to be harsh on you.
You know, to be very honest with you, you know, my wife asked me after the movie, you know, what did I think? Which one did I think was better? And I'm like, I'm really not going to compare the two, because I don't think you can compare the two. Yes, it is the same story. Yes, they mimicked it 95%, line for line, scene for scene, move for move type of thing. I get it. Like, I loved your analogy though, Nat Geo Disney style. That was actually really good. And I actually thought that this could be on, Nat Geo, the Discovery Channel,
Yeah, easily.
Animal Planet, anything like that. And so basically, this is part of my commentary. So I said previously, I didn't realize how much I forgot about the story. Okay. And let's face it, I have not seen that movie in probably since my daughter was little. No, I take that back because my son's seen it too.
You're still going back early 2000s.
I'm still talking 10 years
minimum
that I have seen it. And I probably only saw it once with my son when he was little. I saw it a number of times with my daughter when she was little, but it's been, let's call it at least a decade. So there's a lot of it that I forgot about it. So you and I both have talked a little bit about the idea that, why is Disney making these remakes? Why are they doing the remakes, or dare I say retelling of some stories? Because, like, okay, you have Mary Poppins Returns, that was a sequel. You have Pete's Dragon, which was a spin off of the original. It was not necessarily the original storyline. Things like that. But here's a theory I have. Hear me out. Very similar to the comment about Toy Story 4 was like the first time for this generation. It very well could be the same thought process for the current generation now that's beginning to enjoy the same storyline with current animation, mainly because I think we as a consumer, as moviegoers, I think we are starting to look at movies as, they have to look like, they have to have a lot more realism in them, unless you are knowingly going into a cartoony based movie.
Yeah.
I'll give a great example. The trailers that I saw before The Lion King, first off, sucked. I'm going to tell you that right now. The trailers I saw for the vast majority of the movies were just absolutely horrible. Okay. I just really honestly think that a lot of, and I'm not just saying that because 99% of them were non-Disney related films. I'm not just saying that. I mean, my son and I have a habit that after a trailer plays and it shows like the title card at the end, coming soon type of thing, we'll look at each other and we'll say yes, no, or wait until it comes on video.
Yeah.
And most of them were just like, no, maybe a rental if I can find it from the library for free, that sort of thing. So the fact of the matter is that you have a good story. The story of The Lion King is definitely a good story. Now, the next generation that actually really wants to see this photorealistic animation, that is what moviegoers are really wanting. And I think that's what's happening. And it is beginning to bring it out to a new generation. I'm not just saying that for Disney's sake. I'm saying that because it's happening over and over and over again. Different stories from different movie houses or, movie production companies, etc., are doing the same thing. And so I just think that's really what it's coming down to.
I see a lot of people saying like about the animated, and it's but at the same time, I think people would really enjoy. I mean, I see Michelle says right here, I think people would actually enjoy a good old fashioned animated movie. I've got proof of it. Look in the last 5 years, Moana, Frozen.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go back even a little bit further in that same field, Inside and Out, Zootopia, Incredible. I mean, animated movies still are major heavy hitters. It's just we have not seen. When was the last original movie? 2017, 16. When was that? Moana. It was right in that ballpark.
Well, that's right, because Incredibles was last year, and that was a sequel.
Yeah.
Before that was Moana, and you're right. but I guess what I was trying to get at is there is a difference, I think, between what we're seeing in The Lion King and why they're doing it versus the new animation. Because let's face it, between Walt Disney Animation Studios and Pixar, they're producing fabulous film. But also notice this was not being produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios. This was produced by Disney.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is something, missing about the old style, though. I mean, we'll basically never see hand-drawn animation again. Okay. That's gone.
It's too expensive. It's too much.
It's too expensive too. Like if you got to go back to Princess and the Frog if you want to see one of the last hand-drawn animation, and you can tell it's hand-drawn, but that's what makes it so beautiful too. So you look at the good animation, but here's the thing: part of it is that some of the stories that are being put up by these other movie production companies that haven't been Disney have just really, really reeked. And then
not the original idea anymore. I said it weeks ago. I stand by it. It's lazy. You don't have any original ideas. What are you doing? You're just going to do and it's the cheap way out. Yeah, maybe when I say cheap, not cheap to make, but it's cheap in intellectuals.
Well, I mean, again, I think it's telling to new generations, but here's the other thing. This is what I think. Oops, I didn't want to show this. So here's the thing. Here's also one other thing I don't think people are realizing. The Lion King, from a technical aspect, from a movie making aspect, I think was more of a showcase in technology against a classic movie that people were going to want to see. And they wanted to see how well it was received by audiences. So you have an awesome soundtrack. You have an awesome, storyline. You have a storyline that a lot of people know about. Now all you have to do is have a great director in Jon Favreau, which I still can't believe is, not only Happy from Iron Man movies, but also going way back to Gutter from the movie PCU circa 1995. The fact of the matter is that it is a technological breakthrough in how they actually did that movie. Because unlike, if you look at movies with motion capture, like Avatar, great example. Avatar is a movie with, a lot of motion capture where you have real people that are performing. And there's a lot of video games that are actually doing that same thing now too. If I'm not mistaken, and do someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm kind of thinking out loud here. So if you know better, do let me know. This is animation because there's no humans involved with the actual animation itself. Yes, you have the voiceovers for people like such as Beyonce and so on and so forth. And again, I think they did a great job. But this is, I think, also a showcase in technology, what Disney has on the sense of animation. That puts this into a different playing field. And I would not be surprised if new original stories are going to come from this type of movie making technology.
Yeah. All right. Where would you rate it on your Rotten Tomato scale?
That's a really good question, because I actually enjoyed it more as a movie than I did Toy Story 4. And I did seriously take into consideration the fact of, it's a remake and so on and so forth. If I'm going to go ahead and do the 100-point Rotten Tomato score, I'm going to say 89 is what I'm going to do.
Wow.
I loved it. I thought it was great. As I said, I thought very highly of the movie. I thought it was very, very well done. No, it's not going to get into my coveted 90% range. I'm sorry. I saved that for those that floor me. Will I put this movie in my DVD collection, or I should say my Blu-ray collection? You bet I am. Did it have a few little flaws here and there? Yes, I did. But I'm going to buy it because it's visually stunning. I'm going to watch it again. I love the soundtrack. There you go. I just think it's really good. So, by the way, Nick was kind of saying, what's in the 90s? Good point.
Titanic.
Oh gosh,
It was a great movie.
Titanic.
Saving Private Ryan.
You know what? I've never seen Saving Private Ryan.
It got 3.5 hours.
I know. And Titanic, I actually really, I would probably say Titanic was probably in high 80s or low 90s at the most. My wife, every time I try to watch it, my wife is like, I hate that movie. You know, she could have scooted over a little bit.
I said,
You know.
afraid that door's gonna sink.
Yeah. So, Endgame, I thought was in the 90s for sure. And that's my 2 cents. Actually, Captain America, the first Avenger, going back a number of years in the Avengers series. I would probably say that's in the mid 90s easily. So the fact of the matter is, there are obviously some movies that easily cross.
Ratatouille in the 90s.
I'm saying again?
Ratatouille.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed Ratatouille, but it's not one of my favorites. I like the movie. To tell you the truth, I would actually probably go for an underrated movie such as Meet the Robinsons to be in the 90s. But the problem
for me as well.
Zootopia is a fabulous movie. That one's definitely in the 90s for me. I just think that one has a lot of rewatchable. Believe it or not, I would actually even say Frozen's in the 90s for me.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it. All right, so you said 89?
Yeah, I'm going to say 89.
Okay. 76.
You are a little harsher than me when it comes to movies, aren't you?
I am.
Not that that's a bad thing. Not that that is a bad thing.
It was a very good movie. It was stunning. I just felt like the original was just better. There's just more comic relief. This was a very serious movie. Like outside of a few minutes, it was a very serious movie. Top Gun. Whoo, that's in the 99% rating. I hope the next one.
Oh my gosh. The only reason
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I want to see the second Top Gun so badly, and I'm going to have to go see it with friends because my wife will not go with me. She does not like Tom Cruise.
Okay, what do you think the audience score for The Lion King was?
96.
88.
Really? So I was actually a little closer in my original estimate, my own personal estimate.
That's 64,922 people verified ratings. So there's a 371 count for the tomato meter. What do you think the professionals rated this movie?
Oh, I think the professionals probably panned it a little bit more. I'm going to say that they're probably thinking low 80s.
Want to take another guess?
No, I'll stick with it, even if I'm wrong.
53.
Whoa. Whoa.
It got a splat.
A splat. I see. Now I think that's a little harsh.
Aladdin got a splat too, but Aladdin was actually ranked higher. Aladdin got a 57.
Did you see Aladdin yet? No, I haven't either. I told my wife, I'm going to probably buy it. She was like, why are you going to buy it? You haven't seen it yet. I go, yeah, but I was going to spend that same amount of money, if not more, to go see it in the theater. I might as well watch it in my own theater. And if I don't like it, I'll just pawn off.
Me and Lindsay went to a matinee and it was $22 for 2 tickets. For a matinee, just to go see a Toy Story.
Wait, was it IMAX?
No.
Really? My matinee is less than $6.
Yeah, no, not up here. It hurt.
Well, if you think that's bad, when I saw Endgame for the second time, I saw it at the Dolby Cinema. There was 3 of us, and the tickets were $17 a piece. But boy, that was a great movie to watch at a great theater. Wow, I do want to see Aladdin. But you know what? It's kind of interesting. I know that you and I have differing views on movies, which it sounds like we both have similar comments, some differing. And I think that works. We have different viewpoints on things. I think we rate our movies differently, which that's fine. People are saying Aladdin is phenomenal. So that's one I think we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to see that. Again, I'm going to have to really see that in the Gus Man Omniplex. I probably won't be able to see that in the theaters going forward.
Avengers Endgame got a certified fresh. Audience score 91. Critic score 94.
Okay.
So
And here's the funny part is like, do you, outside of IMAX, do you have any other premium theater offerings?
Well, we had one of the theaters that was first coming out with the digital screens. Those are nice. We get the reclining seats now. That's really about it.
See, all we have in our area is now they finally wised up and then started doing reserved seating, but we don't have anything special except for IMAX. The problem of it is our IMAX theater has it turned up so loud.
I was the worst experience of my life. The IMAX.
Really?
Way too loud. Way too loud. I'm like an old crotchety old man. It was so loud. The coolest part of it is when they that was really loud, so that was cool. But outside of that, it was. I mean, that's the whole point of it. But
see, the thing is, in our theater, it was like a reasonable volume. Now, when I say reasonable, I mean they could have, should have turned it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so disappointed in my own theaters in my area, because none of them have good tuning in their theaters. In order to watch a really good movie, I really have to wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and just sit in my own theater and enjoy it. That's the thing. Yeah, it is just one of those things. Not to mention I could sit and eat pizza without a problem. But yeah, interesting. So what do you think the next movie is that you want to see?
What?
What's the next movie you want to see?
Top Gun. Oh, you're talking Disney?
No, just in general. Top Gun is a good answer.
Top Gun. That looks like that's a movie where I'm freaking out about. Let me pull up a release of the upcoming movies. Let me see because sometimes you see previews like months in advance and you kind of forget about it.
Like I'll have to be honest with you. The last couple movies I've seen had the Dora the Explorer trailer.
Looks so stupid.
And I just went, no. Oh God, no. Why, God? I mean, because seriously, here's the funny part. When my daughter was little, she would watch Dora, the type of thing, because that was cute back then. No, not anymore. Sorry.
You see this rated R movie, The Good Boys? It's by the people who created Superbad and all that.
Here's the funny part. I saw the Red Band trailer for it, where the little kids basically can't see their own trailer because it's a Red Band trailer. I'll be honest with you, that movie does not appeal to me. That type of movie does not. I can't handle. I don't mind profanity. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I can deal with profanity, but if you're going to drop the F-bomb, just for every other word, it gets old after a while, and I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Deadpool is probably the only exception to that, but
great movie.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that.
Oh, Joker. Have you seen trailers for that?
I haven't seen trailers for Joker yet. No.
It comes out in October. It's just tough because you can't have the original, but like the thing is, like, I know everybody's freaking out, like, oh, it's coming out again, chapter 2. I've not noticed. The first one was horrendous. It was so bad. The book was so good that they ruined it for everybody. I'll tell you a movie that me and Lindsay are both very excited for. Now, I'm immediately taking 10 points off of this, so it can never. The highest it can hit is a 90 in my book.
Okay.
The Addams Family.
It
looks so good, but I don't like that it's a cartoon.
Did you see the Addams Family movie with like, what was her name? Not Reese Witherspoon. What was her name? Christina Ricci. Did you see that one? That was awesome. That was a great movie. I'll tell you right now. That was a funny movie. The remake of it. There's a great example. Take a movie that was live action and now they're remaking it into a cartoon.
Yeah, like I said, it's automatically losing 10 points because of it, because I don't think it needs to be a cartoon. But I'm okay, fine,
sure. I want to see the Maleficent movie, the second one. That looks really good, but I still have to see the first one. I'll admit both of them look really good. I'd almost like to see one to one, back to back. That it's just really, I like Angelina Jolie. I think she's a fantastic actress. So yeah, like Bridget actually kind of goes along that lines as well. You know, she's like, I'm waiting for the new Maleficent to come out. You know, go ahead. Sorry.
No, last movie for me.
Okay.
And it's very obscure, so I don't know if anybody even knows what's coming out because it hasn't even been rated yet. Midway. It is. It's about the Battle of Midway, obviously between the American fleet and the Japanese in the Pacific during the World War II.
Yeah. Oh,
there's no one big in it.
Okay. And
it's pretty big.
So the other one that I really want it's like Bailey. Mulan doesn't look too bad, but I still don't know how I feel about the whole Mushu Shang and music thing. This is a great example of a movie that you know is not going to follow the same pattern as the original animated feature. And that's, I think, why I want to see it the most. It looks good, even though I know the story is going to be different. So I've got to look at it from a different light. I like the story of Mulan, and I kind of like that culture. Oh gosh, Beetlejuice. So, but I do think that Chris also says that he thinks for Mulan the ratings are going to stink. I hope not. As I said, I do want to see it, but we'll have to see how it goes. So, well, I really enjoyed this. I hope everybody else enjoyed this conversation regarding both Toy Story 4 and The Lion King. And as you can tell, Danny and I have different takes on movies. We have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences as well. And we rate movies a little bit different too. So, hey, if there's a movie that you want us to see, or more so you want to challenge Danny to see, hey, drop us a line over at Behind Ears Podcast at gmail.com and say, hey, challenge us. In fact, I think it would be, you know what? I'll talk to Danny offline by a special fundraising challenge between now and the end of the year. So if it comes to be, I'll let everybody know. Otherwise, it's just going to be, oh gosh, no, not Mr. Rogers.
What?
No.
Tom Hanks could play any role.
No, I agree with that. Tom Hanks could play both the role as the guy in Castaway as well as Wilson the volleyball, and it would have been great. But I don't know if I want to see the whole because I don't want it to ruin my childhood. I'll admit it. It's one of those things. I don't want Mr. Rogers, the movies, to ruin my childhood because that was something I grew up on. Like, so it was like one of 4 channels on. Come on.
Take us away, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, sure. As soon as I could find the darn button to press, because I have to press this button here. You heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
With that being said, thank you all for tuning into another episode of Behind the Ears Podcast. Once again, you can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook and or YouTube. You can catch us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email us at behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. Trisha would kill me if I didn't mention it. Please head on over and join the WDW community Facebook page. And yeah, that's about it. With that being said, I am Uncle Danny. Tuck your kids in tight, wear your seatbelts, and don't forget Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, something with the Toms. They can play any role they want to play. With that being said, I'll see y'all on Thursday.
Something about the Toms.
It's like Tom.
All right. Well, with that being said, I have nothing else to say other than thanks, guys, for just joining us tonight. Really super duper appreciate it. Thank you for making us top rated fan favorite. And by all means, we really do appreciate that. Well, until we meet again, we hope you have a magical day. Take care.